Hello, welcome to the Birmingham Property News Show. Yeah, my name's Ewan Rankin. I'm a photographer here in Birmingham. I know nothing about property, which makes me perfect for asking the stupid questions that I do each week of the people who are the panel assembly experts as well. Slight apology. We've got a unit behind us that's doing a load of work, remodelling and stuff, so you may hear the odd buzzsaw noise coming through. If you do, sincere apologies. Joining us to discuss the stuff in property around the Birmingham area this week, Krish is back. How you doing, mate? From Barrows and Forrester.
Not too bad. You and yourself?
Yeah, all right. Did you have a good week?
Yeah. So far it's been busy. Every day it's different, which is good. So hopefully the rest of the week continues to be the same.
Did you hit Chinese New Year shenanigans?
I didn't. I tried to. I actually had to go car shopping. So yeah, I didn't get to go this year, but definitely next time I'll make sure that I put it in the diary.
I'll have to. I'm going to leave my experience because I know one of our guests has got a story to tell about being part of that. Joining us in the studio this week, two guests. Firstly, James, of course, who's here.
I'm not a guest.
Yeah, you're the owner. He's going to add in all of this stuff. And we've got Hannah Montgomery here, who's a property owner from Lichfield. You need to talk right into it, mate.
How exciting to be here, Ewan. Thank you.
Yeah, it's okay, mate. Good to see you. Thank you for coming along. It's great. We don't get a lot of women around these parts.
And I apologise for being late.
No, it's okay, mate. Don't worry. So, start us off then. First story. Should we start with the frivolous one first? Or are we going to start with a serious one?
I think we should always start with a serious one.
We're going to do right. We're going to do serious first. This one is rather serious, James, and you started this one. It's the outlook for the Birmingham property market for 2019.
That's right. Yes, it's on the tip of everyone's tongue, wanting to know what's going to happen. Within the actual property market itself, with the dreaded B word. That's obviously that's doing everyone's head in at the moment. I think
Birmingham.
Well, yeah. Well, traffic-wise, absolutely. Bane of my life is Birmingham traffic, but I won't go into that. I've done that on another show. But no, obviously the Brexit word, it's on the tip of everyone's tongue. It is hitting confidence slightly within the market. But apart from that, I've actually just finished my recent blog, obviously on the website, birminghampropertynews.co.uk, because everyone asks me now when I'm going out to valuations, my investors, what I think is going to happen into the property market. So I thought, well, if I put pen to paper or fingers to laptop, and I'll type it all up, and then I'll get it out there. So obviously the people watching, if they want to read it, they can do. But in a nutshell, and this is only Birmingham city centre itself, I can provide the outer areas as well, but you need to contact us for that. This is just on the city centre at the moment, is that the values are unexpectedly 6.2% higher than at the end of 2017.
So that's a 6% growth in 2 years, or year and a half,
year and a
bit
in the city centre.
Right.
And obviously, there's a lot of impacts that could have hit this now. Brexit obviously being one of them. A subject you won't want to talk about, but obviously, my feelings on it is HS2, and I think Birmingham's very heavily based for HS2.
Yeah. And
if the ministers, obviously, there's a lot of thought there about getting it cancelled. There's a lot of uncertainty about. Major, obviously, political issues here that could, knock Birmingham early, and it hasn't done. Obviously, with a 6.2% increase, I think that just shows an astonishing sign of strength. On the local market, and as I'm really big, Ewan, on what happens locally rather than the national outfit. So, the Metro, for example, seeing the big retailers coming in. We've just had Chinese New Year, which was a huge success in Birmingham itself. And I think as long as we're starting to see that, then the local market will actually withstand, a lot more to what the national market might be doing itself.
Chris, you're the man from the active estate agents. Have you seen that in realistic return values on properties, or is it that's actually the money in the door, if you like, rather than the sale offered price?
I think in regards to Brexit, as James was mentioning there, I think Yeah, there's a little bit of uncertainty. We are getting, me myself, I get my investors and clients who I'm speaking with. They are obviously afraid of, they want to wait. But at the end of the day, property, people still need properties to live in. The prices are still there. They're pretty decent prices as well. On the outskirts of the city centre, you can still get some fantastic bargains. But in the city centre alone, prices are increasing. We are seeing that, especially with the new build developments that are coming on the market, and people are still buying them. So I think with Brexit, it's just one of those things. People are just either using it as a scapegoat, trying to wait until and see what happens, or like I said, people still need to buy properties. People still need a roof over their heads and a place to live.
Hannah, is there a kind of wake effect or anything off property prices in Birmingham? If you hear stories that Birmingham prices are going up, do you see any real change in the peripheral areas like Lichfield, Redditch, that kind of area?
Actually, in Lichfield, the property prices have gone down slightly in the last 6 months, and we're worrying. One of my other landlord friends has actually looked to buy a property at the minute. She thinks in 6 months it will decrease even more. I don't know how that goes with everything else. Or maybe we've just been looking at them getting the wrong advice. Maybe we should have come to James straight away.
I remember doing a thing where everyone moved from the urban areas, the kind of de-ruralisation of Britain, but it was about 1400 or something like that. I didn't think it was still happening. Everyone's moving from Lichfield to Birmingham.
maybe
going to a big town.
Well, I thought about doing it actually a couple of months ago, but I thought I might die if I lived in Birmingham city centre. It would be too awful.
We've got a story for you a bit later on, Hannah.
Oh.
We can whet your appetite with some Birmingham properties.
How exciting.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's good. I mean, speaking as a Birminghamite, it's good to see that the region's is on the uprise, because 6% in terms of growth of property does mean that there's also probably going to be more people in the town. Therefore, there's going to be a peripheral increase in the amount of money that's spent in the area, and then the regional wealth does start to grow as far as Birmingham's concerned. It's a bit worrying if it doesn't go to the outlying areas, though.
That's literally research from. So it could all be lies.
No, James wrote this bit. It can't be lies because James wrote it and he sat next to you.
Well, I'm obviously
James like Superman. He doesn't lie.
Yeah. Well, I think the portals are always good. To get the basic advice and give you a broad spectrum. But when you've got to detail down it, you want the land registry, and not always some of the information you can get and pulled through is not right up to date. The land registry can take 3 to 4 months before it'll actually appear on the portals. So you have to sort of go back and delve. And, even though, when we're talking about the city centre today, and it's a 6%, as I said, from the end of 2017, one thing I am saying is I'm a bit more reserved for 2019 now. There's been 2 decades of weaker wage rises, and that is going to have an effect. You always see it come afterwards. And the growth of people's wage packets obviously certainly hits in obviously what they can spend. And this is where we're going to see some big changes here as well. And, without trying to delve into the real big detail, as I say, you can go onto the blog and you can read into it. I think there's a couple of interesting stats, though, that I do like, which was that it's a bit of a surprise that only 378 property sales took place in Birmingham city centre over the last 12 months.
Really? That seems incredibly low.
Now, a lot of this won't include the off-plan, because obviously that's not on land registry yet. But people who buy off-plan may cancel before it comes to completion, so that might never happen. But this is, fully completed transactions. Now, what's interesting is in the last 20 years, there was about 576 property sales in the sort of same 12 months. So we're getting, obviously, less transactions, but obviously at a much higher value. The average value of a property today in the city centre currently stands at £213,700. For the average.
That feels quite low, actually, because I would have thought that city centre properties were probably a little bit more high value on average than that, especially if you think of areas around, there's a lot of properties around the Cube, around Mailbox, that kind of thing that would have really bumped those prices up maybe.
Well, there is, but you've got to then look at it's
average.
Funny enough, I've been on a blog day today, so I've been putting out a few statistics. It's been one of those days where everything's going wrong, but I've been managing to get the blogs out. It's like anything where if you're buying for yourself, you're buying for what you want. More, and it's an emotionally driven sale. But if you're buying for investment, you've got to know what your target audience is. And if you're looking at Birmingham city centre, the majority of the population are people who live on their own.
Right.
So you only need 1-bedroom apartments, and they're going to take the bigger share.
Of course, they're going to be
which
slower
of course,
value.
which is why the average value. You only really see flats and terrace sales in Birmingham city centre. There's no semi-detached houses. Well, there probably is the odd few, but you won't find that they're going to hit on the market. So your terraced houses typically always a lot more expensive. I think we are going to talk about one a little bit later. A development so I'll hold on that one. But if you're 1-bedroom apartments, you're sort of around that figure. That's quite nice. But as I say, I think what's going to happen, because everyone's going to go, right, well, if we're buying now, what's going to happen to the property prices? No one really knows, is the honest answer, because like anything, I always put something at the end of my blog, which goes, as long as nothing unexpected happens in the world, economically or politically, of course, from that. But I do expect the growth to be quite stable in Birmingham city centre. I don't expect, anything really majorly to change with it. I think the prices are going to remain stable. And I think there will be a slight increase over 2019, probably a dip in the summer, because that's when we might see the impact and a bit more of the stability change. But towards the back end of the year, I would expect prices to go between 1.1 to 1.9% higher.
Yeah, Chris, with the people you get coming through the estate agency door there, is there a certainty or an uncertainty that applies, an uncertainty principle that's in the way that they're just window shopping, or are the people that come in serious about buying?
I think they are quite serious. But I think, again, with Brexit, I think it overshadows a lot of things, and a lot of people, in regards to investors, it's a little bit different. They look at the overall market and how it looks, and that they try and use Brexit as a sort of a scapegoat, like I mentioned before. But residential buyers, they still want to buy. They are serious. They're still looking. They still want to move. People, with families, they expand their families. They want a bigger house, or they want to downsize. Then that's still the case. They are still serious buyers. In regards to investment, it's a little bit different. And I've seen it this week where a lot of investors are trying to use Brexit and say, I want to wait, which is absolutely fine. But what's the reason that you're waiting for? Is it, if it's a deal or a no deal, then what difference does that make? If you still want to invest, you still want to invest. I think they're just trying to use it as a sort of a means, as sort of maybe to wait and see what happens. But then again, if property prices go up again, then they're going to be they're going to get stung a little bit more. Whereas if they're investing now at the price that it is today, then they could be getting a really good deal, depending on, of course, the development, location, and the price.
Sorry.
I think Christian's picked up a good point there, that we have, there is people at the moment who'll be saying, well, I'll wait to see what happens with Brexit. It's Valentine's week, isn't it? So everyone, not to be too rude here, but there's a lot of romantic gestures will be going on. So we expect loads of babies in 9 months. And the population's going to grow, and people are going to want to upgrade again. They need bigger houses, and I think that's
I was wondering where you go there. So, darling, I brought you a house.
It always comes, me. It always comes back to property. I'm too boring. But on a serious note, people are still having babies. The population's still growing. People either want to downgrade, upgrade. People want to change from renting to first-time buyers. That market's going to change altogether. And I think when, especially on an investor point more, where people will go, well, I'd rather wait for Brexit. Well, what are you waiting for?
Is there a separation in these figures about buy-to-let or buy-to-own? Or is it just all lumped together?
It's all together. Look, Birmingham's doing really well.
Yeah, it's great.
If I'm looking at now, it's, where are we? So, let me just give you an idea. And I think the big difference is between salaries and wages. And it's only something I'm very cautious of, because if you're not earning, then you're not going to be buying anything really, and you can't upgrade. But looking over the long term, Birmingham property values currently are 157%, I'll round it off for you, are higher, 157% higher than what they were in January 2002.
Cool.
So if you bought in 2002, then potentially you've got a property that's now worth 157% more if you held on to it. So if you think between 2002 and now, we also had a recession.
Yeah.
So you're better off keeping it and holding through and not panic selling. And I think, these are the things that you have to look at. The difference is average salaries, though, are only 76% higher over the same time frame. So that means, over the last few years, the average property values are so high comparative to the salary wages a lot of potential buyers have been priced out from being able to buy their first home.
Yeah.
And the international buyers are coming in and they're snapping up a lot of the city centre apartments for investments, which is where obviously the renters come in. And it's not bad to rent. We discussed that last week.
Yeah.
But, Brexit, regardless of what, people think, I'm not here to give the pros and the cons. We all have our own opinions on it. But actually, the stats are very positive still, from this. And I think that's what you have to be looking at, all together. And when you do look at it, the press are always going to report the bad news. Bad news sells. That's why we have an interesting topic to the end here, because then people like to listen to that one rather than what I'm saying. But, the bad news sells itself. But when you look at the pros and the cons and you really want to go into the detail, which is what I do, to help investors and also help buyers themselves, because they're obviously looking at the market as well, the numbers stack up quite well.
Yeah.
From a vote that took place nearly 3 years ago now.
With that in mind, then, we are going to have a look at one of the specific properties that are available here in Birmingham. I'm not saying it's our property of the week or anything like that, but it's...
could be development of the week.
Development of the week. Yeah, there we go. That'll do. We are... why is that happening? Okay, here we go. This is a 3-bedroom townhouse in the Jewellery Quarter, Crown Works development, and these are 3-bedroom townhouses. They vary from 495 to 595.
Correct.
Yeah. Tell us more about these properties. Is it best to go to Chris or?
No, it's me, because it was me who did the video. He doesn't know anything about them apart from around the corner. And that's good for me. No, so I picked out this particular development because I thought, we'll get a few people keep asking then, and they're watching the blog and they're saying, look, you keep promoting, other products that maybe you don't have. And I think the difference is, if you're a property professional in the area, you're not going to have every listing. And there is great deals out there and people need to be aware of them. If the other estate agent's obviously doing their job well, then they'll obviously be getting it out there as well to people. And it just helps if someone else is saying it's a good opportunity as well. So the Crownwork development is a new development in Jewellery Quarter. It's just off Kenyon Street and Caroline Street. So you're sort of sandwiched in between St Paul's and the Jewellery Quarter. So you can imagine for us lot sitting here and anyone watching from the Birmingham area, you can walk to the metro stations of St Paul's and Jewellery Quarter itself. The Jewellery Quarter and St Paul's is buzzing with the local independents, the little restaurants, deli shops, what do you call them now? You don't see them that way. Greengrocers that have appeared, the hairdressers, everything's there for someone who just wants to walk out the property and just have it all on the doorstep. And if you're working in the city centre, then you're a 10-minute walk away, or you can be lazy and get the tram, so you've got everything there for you. But this is a development of 7 luxury townhouses and 3 apartments. The apartments are all sold. But I specifically chose this because the townhouses, they're absolutely amazing. They're 3 bedrooms.
They do look amazing.
They do look. Do you like them?
If you want to give me one, that's absolutely fine.
Well, we're going to come to you actually, Anna, because you're a professional person. You've got a portfolio of properties. You take the mic off him?
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, because otherwise he'll have it back all the time. Make sure you give it close.
Okay.
Are you going to? You were saying I'm tempted. Does this property tempt you?
It tempts me for myself. I don't think I would buy in the city centre because I would be jealous, and it's costs more really, so I can get more bang for my buck and get a decent rental outside, and it's easier for me to manage properties that are all in one little area right by me. So it's easier for me.
So the thought of moving to the city centre, you said that earlier on, is that just a fantasy, or will you ever see it through?
It's a slight fantasy because over Christmas, I was all for it at the last quarter of last year. I was looking at it and then I thought, no, I just got too sucked into the social scene, and I think for my business to keep alive, I would have to not be there, and Lichfield is just that little bit too far out that I need to pre-plan. Like Chinese New Year going in. Really good.
if I was single and had one of these, I'd be dead within 6 months from liver failure.
That was the fear with it. But the Jewellery Quarter is so up and coming. There's so much going on.
These do look fantastic properties, don't they?
Yeah.
Chris, what's your view on it?
Yeah, I don't know too much about the development. I think obviously it's literally around the corner from the office, so I've seen it being built. But yeah, like Anna mentioned, I think certain people have different tastes and different requirements, so it all depends on that and what your aim goal is. Some people have never liked living in the city centre, and that's fair enough. Some people just can't get out of the city centre, and again, that's fair enough as well. But yeah, Jewellery Quarter is a fantastic area. For the professionals, our office is located here as well, just off Kenyon Street. There's an array of bars, restaurants. You've got the Jewellery Quarter and St Paul's, easy access to the city centre as well. So I think for an investment again, or even to live in, I think it's a fantastic purchase for the price and the way that they look. But again, it comes down to budget as well and what people want. So I think it all comes down to those sort of key points there.
In terms of investment, though, you're getting return on your buck if you're talking about a 6.95% increase in value potentially over the course of 12 to 18 months.
Well, I think so. Well, the Jewellery Quarter's increased in price as well, even in the last 12 months, which is good. But if you're looking at the townhouses, they're a little bit different because generally the city centre is full of apartments. So to get a town, and this is a freehold townhouse as well, so it's not leasehold, so it actually has that added advantage. But if I tell you about one of them, one of them's £500,000, 3 beds, split over 4 floors. They're fully luxury. It's got the urban feel. You've got the parking included as well. You've got your own balconies. You've got the shared gardening area. So it's relatively maintenance free, but you've got that city centre living, and you're away from sort of say the hustle and bustle of the city centre, and you have the more chilled of the hipster sort of Jewellery Quarter type of clientele. But for £500,000, it's 1,422 square feet, which is a nice size for a 3-bed townhouse. Now, just to give you a bit of a comparison here, there's one directly across the road from it, just been fully refurbed. 2 local agents have stuck it on the market, slightly bigger at just over 1,500 square feet, and that's on its £725,000.
Yeah, see, now my only thought here is there's a distinct lack of schools in the Jewellery Quarter. And if you're looking at the prices of going from 495 to 795,
725.
725, all right, apologies. Are mum and dad going to let Tarquin go to the nearest school, which might not be in a particularly great area?
We've got a great big academy round the corner.
What, in the Jewellery Quarter?
Yeah.
Oh, I stand corrected gladly.
Now, I'll get it wrong because it's changed names about 3 times since I've seen it. But yeah, it's just...
Well, at least it exists.
Yeah, it's just off St Paul's Square.
Well, I never...
So there's a lot of kids who live in the Jewellery. It's not really a family orientation place, the Jewellery Quarter.
No.
As I mentioned, it's very young professional, hipster. The sort of now you've had the creative designers, and now you're getting the lawyers and the professionals coming into it because it's a happening area. And I think I mentioned this last week, didn't I? That, there's certain areas of Birmingham are being tipped to be the next hotspot, but the Jewellery Quarter, you know what you're getting now.
Yeah.
It's there, it's established. They're only going to improve on what you're getting. And I just think having the townhouses is just a little bit different. So, if you're a couple and, an apartment's a bit too small and you just want to sort of upgrade, but you don't want to lose the city centre feel, I think these are actually fantastic for the size and what you're getting for the money. I'll be honest, I'm surprised they're not sold because they're actually on the first time buyer scheme as well, on the Help to Buy. So I am shocked that all of them haven't gone yet. They're on with Connells, so obviously give them a buzz if you want to go and look at it. And there is a show home available as well to go and see that. And there is parking included.
Wow. Because you mentioned that, Hannah. You were quite concerned about there being no parking being where it is.
Yeah, that would be my ultimate. I want to have the parking. Is it 1 parking space with 3 beds? Or
1 parking space. Be greedy.
I know. You should see my parking. I need 2 spaces to get.
We can rent you a parking space for the evening times in our office. That's all right. It's but when you think about it, for across the road, yes, the other property is bigger. Over 1,500 square feet. It's not too far over. I think it's 1,522, I believe. But when you're talking £225,000 extra,
yeah,
that's a lot when you start to look at it. So I think for £500,000. You're pretty spot on the money there. I think they're a great deal.
Could you see this being a surreptitious office complex for a corporation that would buy it and not put in for change of use and just occupy it with general office people 9 to 5?
Yeah, I've got a few of that in the Jewellery Quarter where you've got the sort of living and work units anyway.
Yeah.
I think there is as part of the development. I think previously there was going to be some commercial units. I don't think they're there now, but I might be mistaken.
Okay.
There's a lot of holding up still, so you can't exactly see what's happening. I'm only talking about the residential part. But I think for £500,000, to be honest, when I said the average property value before was just under £214,000, and the majority of 1 bedrooms in the city centre, for £500,000 for a 3-bed townhouse, that will grow in value. And it will attract the right buyers because they want to live in that type of area.
Talking about the first-time buyer ethos then and scheme, there is a consultation for an excess of stamp duty on overseas first-time buyers. Or overseas purchasers are
not first-time buyers, just overseas buyers in general.
Yeah. So the overseas for investment, and I thought this was quite an interesting story because from two viewpoints, you could say, let's just do this and remove stamp duty for local residents to a greater degree and get Peter to pay Paul, if you like. But there's a negativity to that as well in the way that people purchase. And then we still had, because my thought was if we're blocking out overseas investors because of rising house prices, is that going to cause a downturn in the market then that will hurt UK residents?
If you're asking me on this point, I think the government needs to bang their heads together to ask what they're saying. There's an attack at the moment on landlords and rising house prices, and I agree that absolutely there needs to be more affordable houses for local buyers, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
But I just think they're going about it the wrong way. And we hear it every time it comes up to a new government, we go to vote. This is always at one of the tip of the tongues of we're going to sort it out. It's all going to be dealt with, and it never is. And it's because I personally believe, in my own opinion, they're attacking it in the wrong way. What we're going to do now, especially with Brexit coming up. So yes, this is where it comes. Why would we want to start attacking overseas buyers? We want money coming into this country.
Yeah.
Why would we want to penalise them?
Yeah, good point.
In the city centre, you're always going to see some of the highest growth. The suburban areas always come second to the city centre. They're just facts moving along. From there. Not everybody, we're used to, being Brits in this country, we're used to having semi-detached houses, terrace semi-detached houses, 3 beds, 2 baths, garden, dog, the usual. That's what we're used to. But the world's changing and we have to start adapting to all different cultures and different lives, in the UK, and making sure that we can deal with this. And, living in the city centre, I think, is a great thing up to a certain point. Before then, you change your life and, you go into your sort of next chapters and don't get dragged into the social scene and, and you're able to still work in the morning and things like this. But you only have to look at other sectors like Manchester city centre. Their property market in the city centre is thriving. You only have to put a property onto rent and within 4 to 5 weeks, you're inundated with tenants. And I think, this is what we need in the city centre of Birmingham more and more. We have lacked it, so it is coming. But penalising the overseas buyers is just wrong. Altogether. What they should do, really, is just get rid of stamp duty for local buyers.
Yeah.
When it was done last time, It was a massive success. There was a big rush. Now, there's obviously twofold here. For the overseas buyers who are thinking, I want to buy in the UK, but you want to get in quick. Because if this does get forced through, it's going to make it more expensive.
Anna, have you got overseas investors in Lichfield? Because Lichfield's an absolutely gorgeous town.
Yeah, no, I do love Lichfield. I love that I can see the cathedral from my house. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not overseas.
No, I know you're not. But, no, because what I'm saying is if it was a hotbed of overseas investment, I think you would know. That's my point, is it clearly isn't.
Well, we've got quite a lot of local things that go on in terms of the bid and all the rest of it. It's all Lichfield for Lichfield people, and we need to stand by the cathedral, and there's all kinds of mandated weird things from the council anyway. So I don't know how they get through.
Did you vote leave then? Your area, I mean. Did your area vote leave?
I don't know the general consensus of what my area voted. I know what I voted.
That's all right. I want you to tell. It's fine. So it's okay. Krish, have you? What have you got coming through the door there? Do you get any overseas people come to your estate agency, or is this something that's not part of your remit?
No. Yeah. We deal with overseas investors as well. I have a few of my clients who are overseas who have invested previously in the likes of Manchester and Birmingham, but more so, as James mentioned there, Manchester, because it's thriving and still is. But it's huge. If you cut out the overseas investors, like James mentioned there, you want their money to be coming into the economy. Yeah. They're pumping a lot of money into property, and you do get. I understand the point that you want the local buyers and you want more affordable housing as well, which again I agree with. You do need more of that, because otherwise it's just going to be overseas investors just taking all of the properties, especially in and around the city centre. So you do need the more affordable housing. But yeah, overseas investment is huge, especially in the investment market altogether. The more residential, it's more so, for the local buyers. But yeah, more needs to be done. Definitely, I agree for letting first-time buyers get onto the property ladder. Because I myself, I'm trying to save up for a deposit on a house at the moment. It's not the easiest. So, I don't want to rely on bank of mom and dad. But I think we touched on a point, I think it was last week or the week before, where, is it the case of that, someone like myself, will have to rely on the bank of mom and dad to be able to afford a property in this day and age?
My thought is that if we've got, if we're discouraging overseas investors, then the money doesn't seem to be an object for them, one, so they will probably pour the money in regardlessly, which will then actually inflate prices even further. Or the other thing is, if they are discouraged, there's going to be a hole in the market because we've had such a long growth period of properties. Maybe there's a gap then from overseas to the majority of British people, and there won't be anyone there to buy the properties anyway. So then you get a downturn in prices, and that hits people like me who've already got properties.
Yeah. And you also have to look at another point from a developer's point of view now as well, because depending on the funding models, obviously to how to get these developments built in the first place, a lot of them will go overseas to get, the sales, because overseas buyers typically act quicker. They don't mind buying something and waiting 2 years for it to be built. Yeah. UK buyers like to touch, feel it, if they buy it today, want it completed, and they want to have it rented out immediately, and that's the way. And if all of a sudden the foreign buyers, get penalised, and if they do dry up, then potentially you could just see a lot of developers mothball projects, which means we're just going to have a housing shortage anyway, because less houses will come onto the market. There's a much bigger thing to this, and I think, it's, the government's just got to be looking at it at a much bigger, rather than just picking out certain aspects and going, we'll penalise here, the landlords got penalised with a 3%, buy-to-let tax. That's not done anything. Property prices have still increased. Everyone was saying it won't make a difference. They will still increase. And it's what's happened. And rather than look at the overall property picture, I think they're just looking too short-term. And the message is, get your act together, guys.
Excellent. Which doesn't lead us on nicely to our last story, but who cares?
I do not know how I'm supposed to get this property related, but hey.
No, it's a great story. Because the thing is, what brings what brings people to your city? It's physical attractions of fun things to do and the amusement areas. And Tub Life have announced that in August they are going to have a hot tub cinema, which I find amazing.
It's great for people living in the Jewellery Quarter or the city centre.
Well, speaking as an old fat bloke, I'm thinking this is not aimed at me.
I don't know. I could see, but looking at the pictures, you might want to come down.
You could see me sitting in that thing, but you wouldn't forget it for the rest of your life. So
it's great, though, isn't it? Come on, you have to admit, because you've got to look at this and just think, who dreams of these ideas anyway? This is the sort of thing you probably discuss in the pub on a Friday night with everyone, a bit drunk, and go, this would be a great idea to have, and then it never gets carried out, and someone's actually gone and done it. So, but look, it's a great concept, isn't it? Because, basically what they're doing is they're obviously going to rent an area out, big screen, bit of a movie night, load of jacuzzis all heated out, everyone have a good time. What's more to say?
At the risk of being inappropriate, Hannah, is this your thing?
It's not my thing, no.
Good on
I'm
you,
a natural
girl.
redhead, so if it's sunny, I would just be in pain. No, I'd be too body
Well, you wouldn't see the
conscious.
cinema though either,
Just
which
do it.
so I'm figuring it's got to be nighttime looking at that video, because otherwise you don't see
Yeah,
the
the
screen and
screen.
that. So
Because in Litchfield, they do the kind of films in the park, and
know.
you take in your cars, and you can listen to it. So how
And is
would
that in
you
the day,
hear
though?
it? No, in the evenings.
So you used to get in America, you used to get like a speaker system, didn't you, that you hung in your car doors?
You do it through the radios now.
Ah,
But I don't know how they're going to be able to hear it. Maybe there's huge speaker systems or where it would be, because they'll have all the decibel laws and stuff. But
maybe next to the hot tubs there's like a stand that's got a speaker on it so you can hear it all.
yeah.
And if you get the delay wrong on that, it could be like watching a Japanese dubbed movie.
Well, based on the pictures that are coming out, I'd say most of them are more interested in the alcohol that's
Yes,
going around.
that
to be
was
honest.
definitely what I got the impression.
But don't forget, it has been here before, hasn't it? So they actually did one at Digbeth.
Where the hell did you put hot tubs at Digbeth?
Well, it was inside.
Oh, right. Okay, I get it now, yeah.
But it was, look, if you look at it, it was rammed, and obviously now they want to bring it back, and they're doing it across the UK, Liverpool, Bristol, Chester, my hometown, Newcastle, so that'll be fun. Glasgow and Leeds. But it's something just a bit different. Look, it's one of those, isn't it, where people are either going to hate it or love it. I think it's one of those tongue-in-cheek things where, you're going to have people go, it's bang out of order, this should never happen, it's exploitation, etc. But if people are booking the tickets to go, then let them go and have their fun and enjoy it. And it's good for. It's like we've just had Chinese New Year, haven't you? So people would have complained the streets would have shut down, and they can't get round, on a weekend and things like this. But it was good for the local community. And again, this is just a part of the local community that people will enjoy. Look, if they keep doing this and people like it, they're going to keep renting in Birmingham city centre. So there's the property related part of it.
Chris, is this?
I am smooth sometimes.
Oh, mate. Chris, is this for you?
Yeah, definitely.
He's already booked his
more
ticket.
of an event.
Oh, what? Did you find this story?
Yeah, it was me that found it. No, I think like look, it's got that point to it, but I think it's more of an event. I think there's performers, hosts, barbecues, round the clock tub service for your drinks and stuff. So I think it's more of an event. It's not just about the case of you just sit in a hot tub and watch a film. There's much more to it. And like it's chalk and cheese. You're either going to like it or you're going to hate it. But they did one, I think, back in 2015 in Birmingham, and it went really well. I think it was boxed in Digbeth, but I looked on the website. It's not just in the UK. They actually do it in New York and Ibiza, which is obviously, of course it's going to be there. But in New York as well in the US. So
can I just say something here then? So for those who will watch this or have read it in the newspaper and have absolutely turned their eye against this, 867 people have already committed to say they're going, with over 21,000 people interested.
Jesus.
Okay.
I'm in the wrong business. I think I need to go to Aldi and get some hot tubs and do it myself, to be honest. And we'll just do it. We'll just do it in all the local towns around Birmingham.
The thing you got to say though is, if it's a hot tub, there's no reason you couldn't run this year round, because the whole point is you're in a hot tub. So it's not hot tubbing in the cold weather is a really pleasant experience, isn't it? Not horrible.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
You're speaking from.
Yes, I am.
Are you speaking from personal experience here?
I have sat in a hot tub and a freezing cold day, and it's actually quite pleasant because you get a lot of heat coming up around you, but you know it's cold outside. And there's almost like I know I'm warm and everyone else isn't because I'm sat in this hot tub. But then you get to the point where you realise you're scared to get out, but you could do it all year round.
I was in a hot tub at New Year.
There you go. See,
so it was good. But it's interesting because now, obviously, we're talking about it. I've actually just gone on to their page to see a little bit more. They even do it for, they've done one here, Halloween hot tub cinema, and they've decked them all out in like Jaws themes and everything like that. So it's actually, it's quite a cool concept, isn't it? It's just something a bit different. It's good for, I would say, the younger ones more by the looks of it all. But obviously anyone at ages can go. But I just think it's just a bit different. It's a bit of fun. It's and I think, life can just be a bit serious sometimes. And if you're working flat out Monday to Friday in the city, and you just want to chill, then, what a great way of doing it, to get your mates around, you all get a hot tub, and then, just have a good laugh. How much does it cost, Chris?
It hasn't been announced yet.
I'm not saying I'm going, but...
There's no tickets on sale, and there's no price confirmed yet, though.
Or the location for the Birmingham one, anyway.
Should we get one? Should we get a Birmingham property show on? And then we'll report.
And
then let's report live from it. What a great idea!
That's what I'm saying. We'll have you on, like you did at. Well, you were in the cold last week, weren't you, at Newcastle? So,
yeah. Well, what's interesting? So, don't know. I'm going to phrase this right. So, got to be careful.
Oh God, mate.
But obviously, when you get events like this, that obviously an instant thing could be that it's very aimed at obviously a female market, and it's being exploited a little bit. And when you look at the pictures, you've got all the women there in the bikinis. But it's interesting because we're on the conversation page now of the Facebook. Helen, Sean, Danielle, Joe, Paula.
Oh right.
It's Georgia. Obviously that's great. And it just shows that people just want to have a good time and just have a good laugh.
Yeah. No, good.
Yeah, let's get one for the Birmingham Prop Show. It'll be good fun.
Excellent. Right, we'll write to them and tell them we want a review unit, if you like. So it's like we
right in the middle.
Yeah, we want to review your facilities. Therefore, you need to give us free tickets.
Yeah, no, that'd be great.
We reach 4 or 5 people a week. If you'd like to get involved in the Birmingham Property Show, then you can. All you've got to do is send us an email at, is it info@birminghampropertynews.co.uk?
It certainly is.
And you can tell us about your development. You can tell us about your purchase. You can be a first-time buyer. You can be an owner of several properties like Hannah is. All you got to do is get in touch and come along. And if you'd like to sponsor it, this podcast is sponsored by Barrows and Forrester. They're the estate agents that are paying for this to happen. If you'd like to take over that sponsorship, there's nothing stopping you doing it. So you can write in and sing about your business. Not a problem at all. Where can we get a hold of you, James?
You can get hold of me right now if you want. But no, you can get me on telephone number 0121 296 2600, or you'll get me on Twitter, James R. Forrester. Nice and simple.
Excellent, mate. Hannah, now you own a company called Goldust Marketing. Tell us about that.
What do you want to know about?
Well, what do you do? How do people get in contact with you if they want to take your marketing services?
Which they know nothing about, which you should. I've dropped this. It's www.golddust.marketing, and they'll get all the information on there.
Excellent. And you've given me plenty of help over the years, so thank you very much for that. Well done for putting up with me for that long. Krish, where can everyone get hold of you?
You can reach me on the office number, which again is 0121 296 2600. That's for myself, or if you want to ping me an email, it's kp@barrowsandforrester.co.uk.
Excellent, thank you very much. My name's Ewan Rankin. You can get me at Ewan Rankin on Twitter, or you can go to 12spacemedia.co.uk and use me for my photographic and video services. That's also available. We're going to be back again next week. Another 3 or 4 topics to talk about and some interesting people in the studio and online. Enjoy your week in Birmingham Property News and see you next week.